I like an innovation to a student who's got to walk to school. And when the student walks to school, imagine on this particular day that there is a car parked across the pavement. Now, do you think that that student hits crisis point and says, oh no, I guess I can't go to school? Of course they don't. It's not like they're going to sit here on the ground and call their mum and dad and say, Mum, Dad, I just can't make it. There's a car across the footpath. Because they know mum and dad are going to go berserk. Your job, son, is to find a way around. Well, in business, it's essentially the same thing, except because business is more intellectual, sophisticated, and there's more money at hand, we think that the things that appear as cars are much trickier to deal with, but they're really not. There's a simple strategy. So in business, what we tend to find is that there's not one person, there's a whole team of people. Sometimes it's a department, an entire organisation, a leadership team, the like. And their job is to find a way to a particular outcome. And the outcome might be a certain financial figure. If you're not for profit, it might be a certain deliverable. Regardless, you'll have some measure. However, these people are used to following this path to this particular outcome. And now they're asked to hit this outcome. And what happens is a whole lot of obstacles come in the way, and they are more apparent than the actual solution to the problems. So therefore, they receive the most discussion because people can get their head around them. They're like, well, hang on, I don't really have the time to do that. Are you joking? Like, what, we're meant to be able to do that? We're already working so many hours. But what about the costs? Like, have we got a budget for this? Because this is a totally new project. Well, how are we meant to do this? This is not in my job description. This is too hard. Like, anyway, the marketing department, they're meant to be handling all this. How come we've got to be able to do this? Anyway, the market doesn't really, our customer is not prepared to spend that kind of money. Are you serious? And what we do is we end up listing all the obstacles, unaware that each obstacle is just a car. And we go, all right, well, the car's there, but what we're asking you to do is to innovate. And every time we have a problem, that's actually where the innovation is required. Okay, we need to find a creative solution to get around time, to get around costs, to get around people's jobs descriptions and their roles, etc., etc. But what happens is the crazy argument happens. And that is when somebody says, what, so you're saying that I'm meant to just find another 20 hours in the week? Or you're saying that I'm just meant to just find money from nowhere? And the crazy argument gets established so that people can keep the same path and not actually innovate. So how are we going to innovate? Well, I tell you, there's a psychology and there's a strategy. The psychology is that the real innovator, like the student, they innovate because they know they've got no other choice. They absolutely must find a way, because if they don't, their mum and dad's going to kill them. In business though, these people don't usually have the must, because they think that there is some cloud in the sky somewhere that has a whole lot of money in it, and because it's got a whole lot of money in it, that the company has access to this money. And if the company gets in trouble, they don't deliver this, it doesn't really matter, because as long as these people turn up 9 to 5, they'll still get some of the money. But the innovator knows that there is no cloud in the sky. 9 to 5 is not the measure. The measure is, if we get this outcome, then there is some money for me. And the people who are leading an organization also know that. But not through anyone's fault, these people don't have that psychology. The second is, what is the strategy? Well, the innovator actually thinks outside of their industry. That is, rather than going, well, how do we measure our time, or how do we handle our costs, or how do we write our job descriptions? They say, what does another industry do? What does the hairdressing industry do? How do they solve this? What does the car industry do? If we went and look at what an academic environment, the way they solve that, maybe they've got a strategy we can use. And so the innovator, one, has a psychology that there is no other choice, we must. But they've also got a strategy that says, let's look for a solution outside of our industry, because the strategies that our industry use keep getting that outcome. So what we want to do is collect some strategies from somewhere else. It's just like this kid. He's walking to school. He knows if he doesn't find a way, he's going to be in trouble. So he's got to find a different strategy. He's like, I think I'll walk on the grass.